There are some others that are live right now, Latino Slant, I think, and Sci-Fi for You is going on live right now for an hour. I want to talk to you guys about something. So Disney Books put out this thing about Claudia Gray's novel Into the Darkness, and we've talked about this. Geode the Rock. And I made a comment on there saying it's the most uncreative piece of shit on the planet. It's only selling at what? Number 7,045 on Amazon's top bestseller list? Wow! Massive sales! So anyway, this guy named Jack Colville, and if you guys went on the community page on this channel, you saw it. I am now going to start making these turds, to borrow a phrase from Drunk 3PO, famous. So let's go through with what this guy had to say. Okay, there it is. Let you guys read it. Okay, let's go. Stephanie Janicek, Geode's uncreative. Meganol is a sentient ooze that couldn't be more of a ripoff of Lovecraft Shoggoths. But there it is. I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about. Here's the deal. The moment I read that, having no fucking clue what he's talking about, I was like, I've never read H.P. Lovecraft. I actually could give no fucks about H.P. Lovecraft. Hey, Matt Piranha. I don't want to waste my time arguing with this piece of shit. But obviously he's not a very well-educated person. And for some reason he's got a chip the size of Geode on his fucking shoulder. Let's go further. It's uncreated blood. Oh, and A New Hope is a rip-off of like 90 things. It's like George Lucas didn't even try. That's the extent. These are the kinds of fans that have now infiltrated Star Wars and our little fandom. Jacqueline Colville, because I don't consider anybody who would say whatever this gobbledygook of shit is. And if you go to Disney Books and you see the Claudia Gray thing with the Into the Darkness, you see my thing, please put a tag for this live stream on there so dipshit can see it. Okay, this is why we can't have nice things. You've got a story group that probably believes the same thing, that don't care about Star Wars, don't love it. You know, I discovered Matt Martin is on. Oh, I am Redneck Nerd. Matt Martin blocked me on Instagram because I dared to say, you gotta love what you're doing, and you don't love what you're doing. I'm sorry I pointed out the obvious to you, girly boy. It's just what I do, okay? It's just what the fuck I do. And I'm gonna, Jack Colville. And they appeal to angry, really angry guys like Jack Colville. I'm going to assume some things because I was right. Remember the kid that went and did the video attacking Echo Base? And then I came on there and I made a comment that I thought he had daddy issues. I was right. He does have daddy issues. So everything that's decent and normal in the world, the little fucker's gonna hate because he's got daddy issues. Everything bad in his life is somebody else's fault. Because most of the time women don't teach their kids. You did it to yourself. You did it to yourself. Guess what? You're gonna have to pay for it. I've seen it in my own family, right? If I had kids, it would be the opposite. My mom didn't do that. My dad sure as fuck didn't do that, okay? I don't do that with my dog. I don't with my horse. And I never did that with my nieces and nephews, much to the chagrin of my sisters who did. And now look what they've got. So I'm going to assume that Jack Colville is probably the product of a broken marriage. Daddy and mommy were divorced. Not that that always is a bad thing. Sometimes it's better because abuse is going on or whatever. But let's just keep going here. Okay. A lot of times when you run into situations like this, when they're attacking somebody like George Lucas, it's personal because this is hatred on a scale that it's like, do you know the guy? I mean, let's go back and look at this. Does this dipshit know him? Does it, I mean, because he sure is taking my opinion that the sequel trilogy sucked. I didn't say that, but you can, assume I think that. That the fact that that Into the Darkness is stupid, personally. And I'm gonna say this. There's no way he can prove to me that anybody within the Star Wars community ever kept him out, the fan community, kept him out of being a fan. So that is a lie, that is bullshit. This has something to do with something personal against George Lucas. And I'm going to assume the guy never met him. And if he did, hell, do you guys remember the video? A few years ago of George sitting at a table and this kid walked over and asked him for his autograph. And he said, why don't you go get a job? You can sell it on eBay. Go get a job. Maybe Jack is that guy. I don't know. We have a generation of millennials that doesn't understand manners, hasn't been raised with any sort of accountability. So he's puking this shit up. I went after him. If you guys go there, look. I went after him, and then after I made sure he read it, I blocked his ass. I want nothing to do with this shit. I really, really don't. This is why I'm gatekeeping. I don't want fans like this. I don't want people like this. I don't want to have to sit there and explain or ask somebody a question. If you hate George Lucas so much, why the fuck are you here? Okay? It's kind of like you are known by your actions, not your words. You are known by your deeds. If you love Star Wars so much, what the fuck did you do that to Luke for? What the fuck did you do that to Han for? You created a fucking rock. It is astronomically stupid. There's no creative energy behind it. They were trolling all of us. This fucking dickwad is going off on George Lucas. For what reason? Did he turn you down? Did he turn him down for an autograph? Did he, ignore him when he asked him a question? Did you wave to him when you were 5 and he didn't see you? He didn't wave back and that's ruined your whole life for the rest of your life? Or are you just a little shit who hates your father and you're projecting this shit on him and you're coming up with all this shit I know Pablo Hidalgo thinks? Because this is exactly the shit I know that the story group thinks. It is. I'm going to tell you something. You go on Twitter, Pablo Hidalgo isn't following Dave Filoni. They don't follow each other. I wonder why. They used to. Now they don't. I wonder why. I wonder why. Go look. If you're on Twitter, go look. This is why we can't have nice things in Star Wars. Right here, right now. Because of shit like this. Because Kennedy's story group and the abomination they've created have allowed a lot of really broken, sick people into the, you're right, Matt Piranha. They're trying to ruin it for everybody else because they just have an empty hole inside. What was that great line from from Tombstone, when at the end of it, or no, right before the big gunfight between Doc and Johnny Ringo, when Doc basically says the same thing, Mad Piranha. I said Johnny Ringo, Mad. And Doc said he's an empty hole. It's the same thing when Alfred says to Bruce Wayne, some men want to see the world burn. Pablo Hidalgo is that person, so is this Jack Colville. He doesn't feel like he belongs, so he's going off on George Lucas for some fucking reason. Again, nobody has ever been told they can't be part of the Star Wars fan community. Because back then, people went in because they loved it. There were arguments between prequel fans and OT fans. There were people who liked both, and I ended up being both, liking both, because the sequel trilogy just showed me what a great storyteller George Lucas is, and what a shitastic dumpster fire Kennedy's Lucasfilm has turned out to be. And they wonder why I want to gatekeep. You know, a lot of people say, oh, you can like the sequel trilogy. Don't tell me that. Because if I have any respect for you at all, which you have to earn, by the way, because that's how I was raised, especially if you're younger than I am, I don't just automatically respect people. All right? You gotta earn it. Okay, that's the way it is. But if you say you like the sequel trilogy, I won't have any respect for you, because I'm going to assume this. Oh, Robot, you're right. I'm going to assume you're not well educated, you don't know how to watch movies, you don't know shit about Star Wars, and you're some flavor of SJW that by the time you utter one full sentence, I'm going to want to strangle your ass. Okay? Kind of person that walks into a house on Thanksgiving going, are we having vegan turkey? Out! 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 That's it. I won't. I don't. Mom, I don't play that game. All right? Just, I don't. Okay? You know, but this is the kind of shit we have to go through nowadays because of what Kennedy did. You know, I can't remember who said it. Oh God, I can't remember. Basically that this shit started in 2012. You know, and it wasn't with Star Wars, it was other things, and then it kind of evolved into Star Wars. You know? Oh yeah, Mad Piranha, you're right. And, you know, that was a very emotionally charged thing for this dipshit to say. And I think it's funny as hell. I really, really do. I mean, it's just like, you know, but I want to talk about that because I think it's really important that if there are people out there that like all three trilogies, and they've got to understand that they need to really look at why they like the sequel trilogy. Because there are Star Wars fans out there that like anything that has Star Wars on it. It doesn't matter what it is, Vice Admiral Gender Studies action figure, Dark Ray, and the rest of that shit, they'll buy it. Okay. Not as many as people thought there were. Okay, because Disney isn't making any money on Star Wars right now. This is why all this shit's going down. Hey, John 42. Anyway, I call these people, to put it bluntly, shit sniffers. You could take a great big cow pie, or a pile of dog crap, stamp Star Wars on it, and like Mike Zero and anybody else, they'd run over and go, ooh, it smells so good. Ooh, this is great Star Wars, the best ever. When it's not. That's what they did with the TFA. All right. And I sadly was one of them for about a year. And then I remember sitting back one day and going, I got to admit it, this movie sucks. This movie fucking sucks. Yeah, that, but I really think that people are just in love with the brand too, Trela. The brand, uh, no matter how bad it gets, is always going to mean something, um, and that's part of it. And there's also such a thing as brand loyalty, um, you know, and I think there are people with a lot more self confidence like us who are like, that's it. If you do it right, you get a cookie. If you don't, deet, 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 deet. And I mean it. That's how it works. And now they're learning that. Bad Batch, fine show. I disagree strongly with people with their uh, with their anger towards or their opinion that Omega is some sort of Mary Sue. Omega is an engineered clone. She's a mutated clone. And she's going to be special because that's her mutation. She's not a Mary Sue. Okay. There's absolutely no Mary Sue qualities. And it'd be like, here's my clone, but it's different from me, it can do other things. And it's a Mary Sue. No, it's a clone that I engineered to do other things. Okay. That's just how it is. But this is all going to be very interesting, I think. When it starts shaping up, I think, was it Vader comic number 8? Star Wars Theory looked at it, and someone said in the comments that it looks like they're bringing back the EU big time. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go watch that. Um, well, if it's a mutated clone, they did something to it. It's got the same DNA, but you can tweak them and do different things with them. It's very, it's really, when you think about it, it's like, it's kind of sick. It's really kind of sick, to be honest. Um, but anyway, wanted to address the Freddie Prinze Jr. thing. I didn't even realize that was him when I watched Bad Batch. Uh, I just thought the actor was. No, it's not a bit far, redneck nerd. It's not. It's not a bit far. Um, you're looking for something to hate. Stop it. Okay? Stop it. Problem with a lot of people is they're looking to be angry about things. And personally, I'm really kind of sick of hearing it. Okay? Um, but anyway, Freddie Prinze Jr. So I didn't know it was him. And I thought, okay, fine. Whatever. So he's on Twitter attacking fans again. And I thought maybe he'd heard something. And maybe, he's upset. And because when it hits the fan, he will be one of the people attacking fans. Okay, let me explain. They won't have him back. Okay, they're not going to have him back if he does that. If it comes out, Pablo's gone. And I think, let's look. Damn it, this thing shut off again. That Mrs. Hidalgo, yeah, she's fine. I mean, what John 42 said. Man, Ray, Sky, Twitter. Okay, let's see. Okay. Let's see what she has to say. Um, I hate the fact that she likes Duran Duran. What the fuck? I don't know what she's talking about to Pablo, but oh, they're listening to Duran Duran. How do you destroy? I know you are. I know you're kidding. I'm just going through Kristen Hidalgo's tweets, and somewhere I guess she's going to Massachusetts for her birthday. She's turning 40. Maybe she's turning 50 because she looks like it. Um, but he's posting stuff about. I thought she said somewhere she was going to um, on a vacation soon, uh, and it's really funny how these guys love stuff from the 80s, but they shit all over it when they're doing stuff with stuff that came from the 80s. But well, I mean, yeah, of course Duran Duran was pretty big. God, every girl in high school except for me had pictures of John Taylor and Nick Rhodes and Simon in their lockers. I had Harrison Ford in my locker. What can I say? Harrison Ford and Patrick Swayze and Kevin Costner. I just like the rugged guys. I'm sorry. Um, but this is, yeah, I really thought she said she was going on a vacation soon. Shit. But anyway, it's just really interesting. It really is. She misses being in the office today of all days. That was on Star Wars Day. So she hasn't actually been to the office at Lucasfilm probably since she got furloughed. And I know she was furloughed because she said so, like last summer. Hey Troy, how you doing? Um, but I like Nick. I thought Nick was cool. I don't know why either, but we all thought that was like everybody was into Simon, and I was like, blondies, I like them dark, tall, dark, and handsome. And if they are blondies, there has to be something there. Like, who's hot? Go look up Dean Paul Martin. But he died in he was Dean Martin's oldest son from his marriage to Jeannie, and he was an captain in California Air National Guard, and he was killed flying his F-4 Phantom in 1987, like in September. Bad weather, and it just ran into trouble, and it was bad. And that began Dean's kind of slide into poor health, and then, it's probably what killed him. It took all the joy out of his life. And I'm telling you, man, Dean Paul Martin, oh my God. Girls, look him up. He was hot. I am not kidding. I remember seeing pictures of him, and I'm like, in video, and I'm like, Wow. I'm not kidding. I mean, he had his dad's facial structure, but he had blue hair, blue eyes, and green, or blue. I can't even talk. Blue eyes and blonde hair, but it was sort of that dishwater blonde. Really, really a handsome guy. Just, and I think very much a ladies' man. But yeah, he was something. He was something, something. But yeah, yeah. Now Pablo and his creepy pinched face little wife have ruined Star Wars or ruined Duran Duran for me. I don't like thinking I actually share something that's really cool with them because they're not cool people. By the way, for those of you who are late, I showed this to Maze. I'm not gonna put it up on the community page, but I discovered that no, Dean Paul was killed in 1987. Let me find a picture. Let's go back. God, I thought that bitch was leaving somewhere. All right. Let's find images. Here. Here you go. Here, girls. He married Dorothy Hamill? I did not know that. I did not know that. I did not. God, he was hot. Jeez. I'm not kidding either. Wow. Wow. Grow. Um, anyway, what was I talking about? So let's talk about uh, Dina, blah, blah, Gina, Gina's tweet where it was like a selfie of her and she's winking. And she's hinting at something going on. That something big is gonna be happening soon. And she used a picture of herself in her Cara Dune costume. Oh, now I know. Now I remember what I was talking about. So anyway, I wrote kind of a nasty message. It wasn't really nasty, but it was sort of a listen here, boy message on to Matt Martin, and he blocked me on Instagram. I don't, I thought that Bitchy McBitcherton, Chrissy Hidalgo, had said they were going on vacation somewhere soon. So, and I didn't want to go through her Twitter feed because there's only so much I can stand. And look, here's the problem with these people. They're not very intelligent. They're not well educated. They don't know how to think critically. The mark of a deep thinker is someone who tries to understand something, read something for context, read something for what's between the sentences, what's between the lines. That's the way I was taught, how to read in grade school at the Catholic school I went to, and how my professors in literature class wanted us to think. What is the author really saying? What is really going on? That's how we went to watch movies. And it's like, these people don't know how to do that. They haven't been taught how to think critically. They're very linear thinkers. And when you try to engage them in an intellectual discussion, they get upset because they're not smart enough. Because look, they really aren't. We're not dealing with a lot of people who have high IQs. Okay, anybody can get A's in a writing class. If you're, I mean, one of my Korean friends told me once, it's very easy to get good marks if you're Asian. The problem with Asians is that they don't know how to think outside the box. They don't understand that extra step that we in Western culture do, which is thinking creatively. Mommy and daddy expect you to get straight A's. Fine. But the reason why the Chinese steal our technology, the reason why we have those issues going on is because they don't know how to think in the way that would help them make it themselves. Right? They're not taught that. Oh, yeah, you're right. And these people, this Jack Colville, the Kristen Hidalgos, the Matt Martins, the Pablos, they don't know how to think in a critical fashion. They don't read to understand. They don't listen to understand. They listen to react because that's the way they've been taught. Right? You can't do it that way. This is why this idiot went off on George Lucas. He doesn't understand a goddamn clue about anything George created. All right. And it might not be his fault. He might not be very bright, but he doesn't know how to think critically. All right. He doesn't know how to watch movies. And I'm going to tell you something. I think it started in the 90s. Okay. You can see this sort of dumbing down of entertainment where even parody, like Scary Movie 1, 2, 3, 85, and oh, you're right, John 42, and the rest of them, they're not even funny. They're not Monty Python. They're not Mel Brooks. They're not anything like that because you can't, first off, they don't know the first rule of life. Don't take yourself and don't take anything you do seriously. Okay? Don't take yourself so seriously that you can't laugh. Don't take anything so seriously that you can't find something to laugh about. Okay? That's the first thing. They don't know how to do that. They were never taught that. Second of all, they aren't familiar with building blocks of stories. Like they're not familiar with J.R.R. Tolkien's background. In fact, he was a devout Catholic, World War I veteran who fought in the trenches. They don't know anything about that. They don't know anything about C.S. Lewis. They don't know anything about George Lucas. They don't know how he grew up. What was the impetus for him to leave what he first wanted to do, which was anthropology, and go into film? Okay. They don't know how that came about because they're not taught to care. And they're not taught, they were never taught, they will learn more about what they created if you know more about them. And you know more about what inspired them to do it. That's a huge problem with these people. Pablo has that problem. Pablo's problem is that he's narcissistic. Nothing matters except what he wants. All right? And how does he manipulate people to get him what he wants? Sociopath. All right, right there, I said it. I'm right too. So we've got this thing going on with these people. And that's the ultimate problem. And that really is a horrible issue I think Star Wars fans have to deal with if we've been there. If we actually, it says 9 on mine, Maze, 9 likes and 21. So I want to get up to over 30. I mean, I can get there too. But how do we get them to understand if they want to be part of this? They don't get to dictate what Star Wars is. It is what it is, no matter what they say. Okay. They're the newbies here. They're the newbies here. All right. They have no right to come in here, say what they say, like this dude, and, show up and trash what came before it. And then declare themselves Star Wars fans. Does that make any sense to anybody? They want control, and I think the reason why is because people who really need that kind of control feel out of control themselves. I have a sister that's like that. They're entitled. You're right about that, but they're millennials and Generation Z, Zoomers, and um, I, I don't know, Troy. I do the same thing. I get distracted too. But I kind of go, you guys want to be here. You can't just shit on everything that came before it. We want you to love Star Wars, but you can't come in and then say, okay, it's all different now. You can't dictate what it is when it's already been there for 40 years. Okay, you can't. These people aren't familiar with, hey, Pocket, the hero's journey. They're not familiar with, I know they're not familiar with Arthur and Greco-Roman mythology, Nordic mythology. I know they're not familiar with any of that. I know they're not familiar with Japanese film. They're not familiar with, hey, House Atreides. They're not familiar with the westerns, John Ford. If you bring up, John Wayne, you'll have assholes like, you're right, Maze, you're right. You'll have assholes like Brian Young screaming he was a racist when he wasn't. You know, they have a very difficult time, again, being objective. They don't know how to think objectively, which makes their, oh, I know, karate stick. Well, here's the deal. Someone, someplace, somewhere, convinced Kennedy that they didn't need us, that these new fans would show up and the would bring success. And it was a hard lesson to learn. And I'm going to say this. I am very sure Pablo Hidalgo thinks he's a success. I'm pretty sure if you showed him where the High Republic is on Amazon bestsellers list, he wouldn't believe it. I'd say, go look yourself, dipshit. Go look yourself, fuck face. Go look now. Into the Darkness is 7,045 on the Amazon bestsellers list. That's bad. That's really incredibly bad. Okay? That is really awful, in fact. Okay? And I can't even begin to describe what my well, Maze, I'm going to say this. I think, yeah, she was. I honestly think that Pablo wanted to destroy what Lucas created. I think he's very, very bitter about something. Darth Denise, the guy that told Doomcock it didn't break even by 30 million. No, it didn't break even by 2 billion. And then you add what they really invested, and it's bad. It's BAD in capital letters underlined 3 times. It is bad. And they can't deny it. Pablo can. Even when they say, you're fired, he'll walk out saying he did nothing wrong. Yeah, well, when you've got. The thing that bothers me about this whole thing, and it should have occurred to somebody like, Iger, that Star Wars is a fairy tale. And that was the thing that Lucas had to remind people when they were filming it. It's a fairy tale. And I don't like it when major characters that I followed, that I liked, are killed for no reason. I don't like fairy tales are dark, but they also end on a good note. Star Wars is a fairy tale. It's timeless. It's about lessons, about growing up, about decision making. It's about the journey to adulthood, the journey to find yourself. And if it's a fairy tale, it should have fit perfectly with Disney. Why isn't Leia a Disney princess? Think about it. The reason why is because he's feminist. Is she a Disney princess? I thought she wasn't. Are you sure, Matt? Somebody go check it out and find out. It's a fairy tale, so why don't they treat it that way? I would have thought they would have, which would have been fine, because then you're not fucking everything up. But this is a company that now is dropping the knee again to the batshit crazy feminists and attacking Snow White. Well, all right, so she's not a Disney princess. See the problem? Very funny. I got to admit, the end of the holiday special, to go off on a tangent, the looks on their faces, Harrison Ford, look on his face is like, so this is how my career ends. Mark is like, it was so horrible. It was so cringe. But I wanted to see it more. I mean, I remember the next year, 79, going, don't we have another, is there going to be another Star Wars? Hey, Diamond Plate, holiday special, where is it? Looking around, because I was like, so last year I got to watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, The Grinch Stole Christmas, Charlie Brown, and Star Wars. Well, where's Star Wars? See, that's how the kid mind works. I think I just, what the hell is B. Arthur doing in that? Okay, so that's the excuse. That's so stupid. That's just so stupid. Oh God, he looked like he was stoned out of his mind. He probably had to be to get through that. God. And George, if I could break every copy of that that VHS DVD, I would. It's one of those things where you're going, who in the right mind thought this was a good idea? It could have been great. It could have been great, but it wasn't at all. That Carrie Fisher said on Thanksgiving, she played the holiday special so people would leave. I love it. That's so funny. She's just, she was, God, I miss her. But anyway, I'm back to what I was talking about. Because I gotta tell you, man, when I was just sitting there drinking coffee, minding my own thing, this thing over, Notification came from Facebook, and I'm like, oh, okay, let's go there, Jacqueline. So, yeah, I think it probably was. You know, I don't know. I didn't even see Howard the Duck. I was like, I'm not gonna watch that. Nah, you know. But I was like, really? Well, it's not that they look through the world with rose-colored glasses. It's they're subjective. And when you're discussing art, I mean, films are art, novels are art, painting is art, dance is performance art, what have you. You have to be objective. And objectively, into the dark is garbage. It is fucking garbage. Objectively, the entire High Republic is garbage. And the reason why the guy was so emotional was because he knew it's garbage. He just wants to hate George Lucas for some reason. Again, and I always call it right, I guarantee you the guy hates his father. All right. I guarantee that when you open up, when you look at these people like Matt Martin, daddy and mom are divorced. Fine. Hates his father. Pablo Hidalgo hates his father. And on and on and on and on. You know, my husband is a child of divorce, but his dad was there all the time anyway. B, he was raised in a pretty hardcore Catholic family no matter what. And, you know, had enough male role models with his uncles, big Catholic, Italian Catholic family on his mother's side, to kind of to avoid all that nonsense. But there are a lot of guys out there, a lot and girls who are children of divorce and their parents hate each other. Mommy won't let them see their dad, and it's not because dad was abusive or anything. Mommy just hates dad. Maybe daddy has a new girlfriend. Maybe daddy, did something, cheated or something, or maybe they just didn't get along and daddy got sick of it and left. Okay? Sick of her and left. That happens. And instead of, trying to help the kids accept what's going on and, because I don't care who you are, a kid needs their fathers more than their mothers. Children of both sexes without their dads can turn out to be pretty bad. Look at the black community if you really want to see that. All right. Uncle Sam is not a good father. All right. Uncle Sam is a horrible father. Without a positive male role model, be it the dad or uncles or grandfather, lots of times kids are lost. And it doesn't, I've seen it in my own family. And I can usually spot the angry brat coming out. But the thing about Anakin is that he didn't have a father figure. And when Qui-Gon Jinn appeared, he was able to have one for a short time. Qui-Gon's killed and Obi-Wan takes his place, but Obi-Wan is more of a brother. What fills that vacuum is Palpatine. All right. Now, Anakin can look at Obi-Wan in Attack of the Clones and say, I look at you as my father, but it's not that. They don't have that relationship. They have a relationship like brothers. And Obi-Wan says that to him in Revenge of the Sith. Anakin's father figure after Qui-Gon Jinn is killed is Palpatine, and that's bad. Okay? Palpatine isn't a masculine presence. All right? Palpatine isn't a man. It was for Anakin too. Palpatine wasn't a real masculine presence. He's a guy. He kind of fills that void. But a real masculine presence doesn't manipulate people. I mean, the whole relationship from the time Anakin was a little kid until Revenge of the Sith of Palpatine was him cultivating that relationship, doing all these machinations behind the scenes to basically get the kid to think one thing and then manipulate the kid to turn into what he turned into. It's not a seduction, it's more of a manipulation. Okay, to the point where the kid can't see right from wrong anymore. And that just shows you where Qui-Gon would have been able to put a stop to it. Yeah, and he wasn't a manly presence. Guys like that, think of a politician that's really manipulative. Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, neither of them are alphas. Bill Clinton likes to pretend he is, but in my opinion, a man who shows weakness when he should show strength, who cheats on his wife, who lies to the public continuously, who prides himself on telling his daughters what a terrible human being he is because he's a man, isn't an alpha male. There's nothing truly masculine about him. Okay? I always tell people you are known by your deeds. And attacking George Lucas, attacking the original trilogy, attacking the characters, attacking the prequels, it says a lot about how you feel about yourself, how you feel about the world around you, where you think you belong. It says a lot about what your day-to-day life is like. If being a bully, if tearing down something like Star Wars makes you feel better about yourself, then you got problems. If tearing down other people's love of it, and yet you call yourself a fan, you're not a fan, all right? You're not. You're looking to destroy, okay? When I look at what the story group has done, what they've managed to do, drive fans away, drive wedges between people that work at Lucasfilm, take the joy away from others, as Diamond Plate just said. They're joyless, unhappy, nihilistic people. And they're narcissists. They're not there because they love something. And, I would think someone in Pablo's place would thank God every day for the opportunities. Would be thankful to something for these opportunities. Would show gratitude to George Lucas, who 20 years ago hired him. And yet, we see nothing. There's nothing there. Well, think about it. Think about it. And that's what produces people like Jake Colville, who have never, attacked the EU, saying the EU wasn't creative. I'm going to make another assumption. Jake Colville's never actually read the EU. All right? Or maybe he's one of these, jackasses who thinks that everything should reflect him in everything. Okay? It doesn't work that way, but whatever. I think it's very interesting to me that that this guy came on that and started yelling and screaming and just here, I'll show it to you again if you haven't seen it. Okay, I gotta clock back in because it loves to kick me out. Okay, here's what he said. That's what Pablo and the, story group and Kennedy gave voice to, all right? And it's literally unfathomable that we have to sit there and argue with people like that. It's why I gatekeep. I don't want somebody like that around here. Star Wars means too much to too many of us to let somebody like that have a voice, because they're bad. They're destructive. When I call Pablo Hidalgo a cultural terrorist, I mean it. He's the Mullah Omar of the story group. He's the Chairman Mao of the story group. Nothing in the past matters, ignore it, kill it if you have to, whatever. Yeah, and you're right, Piranha, it is. But there you go. But this is what we're going to have to deal with until things change. And hopefully, these people will go away then. See, here's the deal. They need us. Disney and Lucasfilm needs us. They don't need these other fans. And the lack of merchandise sales, the dearth of movie tickets being sold proves that they don't need these people. We're the ones that go to the movies. We're the ones that go buy the shit. We're the ones that talk about it constantly. Okay? All right. Well, they don't. In the Man Piranha, I talked about it before. They can't think objectively. They don't know how to watch a movie. They don't. They absolutely do not know how to watch a movie. They think Daisy Ridley's a fine actress. I'm like, they think Adam Driver's handsome. He's the nightmare a woman has if she thinks she's going to get raped. That's every time I look at him, I think of Boston Strangler or something like that. Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy was actually better looking, but all right, that's what I think of. I don't think of, but again, a guy like Harrison Ford, back in the day, here's the deal. All right, getting ready? Hot, sexy, alpha male, rugged, good looking, and is a threat because he's all that in a bag of chips. Yeah, he does. He does look like Richard Ramirez. Oh my God. Good call there, dude. Um, hey, Gingerbread Man. And it's very funny to me when you bring up Harrison Ford back then, when you bring up even Mark, all these guys that were, because they're masculine, good looking, not Mark exactly, but Tom Selleck, Harrison Ford, Kevin Costner, the guys from back then, and how threatened women like Claudia Gray are, women like all these women that are threatened. And the reason why is because you want to have sex with that guy. That is that is Adam Driver didn't have a chance to show if he was a Marine or not. What was he in for 2 years? Got hurt. I've known a lot of Marines. I'm not impressed. I'm just not. I told my husband that one day, and he just started laughing. And I go, it's true. I mean, it's true. Like, I'm walking. We had a picnic for the battalion. It was right after we got married, and he'd just taken a command of 112. And I'm walking through. We're in Hawaii, and this kid, he couldn't have been more than 19 years old, walks up to me and like, are you really the colonel's wife? And I go, yeah. He had no idea I was, how old was I? 2004, I was 36. I'm looking at him going, you know, it's like, oh yeah, well, he wasn't a Sith. They didn't even deign to make him a Sith. He was just shit. Kyle Ronnie shit. All right. Ben Solo, even the name is lazy ass, apathetic writing. I don't, and if you argue with me, you are a soulless, shallow moron who doesn't need to be around here. Okay? It's garbage. The ST is garbage. Adam Driver is an overrated, ugly ass guy. I'm sorry. Daisy Ridley is an overrated, stick of wood, plain girl. She's plain. I mean, I'm sorry. She is. And you go, everybody likes her, just gonna have to get to deal with it. I'm sorry, but that's the case. And Rudy was in the Marine Corps. I don't really think so. If it was, that it was accurate. There's a lot of stupid female drama that goes down. I don't like her. She don't like me, right? And I steer clear. I was like above all of it because I want to be part of it. I don't. Again, if you know me, I don't like most women. I don't. All right. Very few women I get along with because most women I run into are bitches. All right. And that's and they don't they don't like you back. They don't want any friends. There's no such thing as a sisterhood. Every time you see two women who say they're really good friends, I guarantee you 2 years later they're not going to be. All right. Now I have women that I'm friends with, but we're friends over a lot more than just whatever. Politics, doing doing work together, faith, that kind of thing. But there are women I was really close to a long time ago that I wouldn't give the time of day to anymore. And that's most of them. That's most of them. And that's truth. So when I see, two women yip yapping, acting like they're bestest friends ever, it's like 2 years from now, let's see where that goes. Let's see where that is 2 years from now. Because it's usually about that long. Now I've got friends in other places that, I'm friends with, I talk to them and stuff. Like, All right, here's an example. The woman I got K from. I don't talk to her anymore. She's batshit crazy. The woman who got me in touch with that woman, I don't talk to her at all because she pissed me off. All right. You know, I don't tolerate a female drama. I like Bad Batch. Bad Batch was good. Um, the conundrum that people are trying to start with Omega, it's not worth it to get worried about. She's a clone, and they manipulated it so she's a girl. But she is a mutated clone like the Bad Batch. Um, you know, I don't know what the score is here yet, but it's very interesting. It's a very interesting thing. I really like the character of Hunter. He's pretty cool. And I normally don't care for clones. I think they're stupid, but I mean, like if Captain Rex dies, he's not a human. Oh yeah, yeah. I know. I've seen We Were Soldiers. Mel Gibson is amazing. My husband actually got a chance to meet Hal Moore and Joe Galloway. So yeah. We Were Soldiers is a great show. Okay, what, Maze? Um, but anyway, yeah, Bad Batch is I resubscribed. Uh, yeah, and Young Indiana Jones, if you want to watch it, is free on YouTube, at least until Disney decides to take it off. Um, it yeah, it's John 42 We Were Soldiers is great. Yeah. Um, but yeah, Young Indiana Jones, because she's a manipulated clone and she's engineered that way. Her backstory's already been explained. Um, so there you go. All right, there you go. So anyway, I gotta go. My voice is dying, and I gotta take the dog out. So and throw the ball for him. He's been really antsy. So anyway, I gotta go. But it's fun. Uh, uh, and have a good day. Um, your point. How's our treaties? It's not. Omega's not a Mary Sue. Quit it. Okay, just fucking quit it. Anyway, talk to y'all later. See you around the galaxy.